All right, so we are at the Dish episode 19 with star recruit Niles Notre Dame, Karl Schmalz. He is the real deal, and he is a big name that's getting more and more and more fire on this pipeline for recruiting. A lot of schools interested in him, a lot of schools talking about him. He's going to be one of those spring risers that you got to pay attention to. Out of Niles Notre Dame, Karl Schmalz, here is my thing, episode 19 of The Dish. And again, make sure you follow Coach Big Pete and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me, CoachBigPete@fp@gmail.com. And I'm looking forward to any suggestions for who I should interview for The Dish or who would you like to see me talk to on The Dish. Let me know. If you like my work, feel free to leave a tip/donation via PayPal link below. And enjoy this episode. A very good episode. And he's a hell of a wrestler too. You got to pay attention. This kid, defensive end, 6'4", nice frame. And again, like I said, I love those wrestlers that can play on the defensive line. You got to love it, especially if they're leverage. So here it is, my talk with Karl Schmalz, The Dish, episode 19. All right, so we have with us a very special guest, a kid that's absolutely shooting up the recruiting charts. And Karl Schmalz, hopefully I'm pronouncing the last name correctly. Is that the correct last name? Okay. Karl is a state champion wrestler, and he's a hell of a defensive end. And this is a kid that you need to know because he's on fire right now. A lot of college coaches talking about him, and a lot, especially in the pipelines. Karl, how was your football season last season?
Last season, I felt like I made a lot of success. I ended up finishing the season with about 12 sacks and about 50 tackles, give or take. And I feel like, especially with the transition from my first varsity season as being a sophomore, I feel like I've been able to make reads a lot better and just read the field way better and make better plays and just be more active on the field overall.
Cool, very cool. What do you feel is your strongest trait on a football field?
I think my strongest trait is probably my toughness that comes from wrestling, and probably my use of hands, because I'm just used to using my hands to my convenience, and I think finding ways that make it efficient, get past the lineman.
Cool. How has wrestling helped your football technique?
Just as I mentioned, like using my hands to however I can use them, whatever gives me an advantage. Like, I feel in most football players, they kind of have to have a more broad like use of hands, but I feel like with wrestling, I can kind of like have more of an hand-eye coordination, and I feel like I just have sort of an advantage with that, if that makes any sense.
How was it placing as a title winner in wrestling?
It was a wild ride. It was I honestly shocked myself because I lost pretty early in the tournament, and I got to be honest, I was pretty beat down, but I figured, what do I have to lose? And I had a pretty tough road ahead of me, but I just wanted to win, honestly. I just wanted to win.
Now, I always ask wrestlers this, and I always ask this, what would you say to a football player that's on the fence of joining wrestling? What would you say to him?
You got to do it. I know for somebody that hasn't wrestled before, it's pretty hard to make the decision because the wrestling coach at school is pushing you to wrestle because he said it makes you better at football. And you might think, oh, it's just a bunch of BS, but it really helps. It really helps know where your hips are at. It helps you recognize what your body's used to and what you're good at, and it can help you realize what you're good at in football too.
Awesome. And talking about that, what schools have you talked to so far in your recruiting journey?
Mostly schools within the MAC conference.
Okay.
Talking close relations as of now, obviously NIU has been a really big one for me so far. I visited there twice. My last big visit was about a week ago. I've been on the phone with Harvard football, and I'm visiting Purdue on March 26th.
What schools have made a major impression on you?
NIU. NIU a major impression on me.
Awesome.
At first glance, you look at NIU and Well, I never really knew much about NIU in the first place, and at first glance, I
Okay,
was like, it's a D1 school, it's a good opportunity. But then I walked in, I was just blown away. Great program, great coaches, everything.
good. And I totally forgot to ask you this. I want to ask you this because it's always funny because when I talk to football players that wrestle, they always say that there's that wall of working out after football that they go straight to wrestling, and there's that wall where you're just absolutely tired when you're starting practicing wrestling. Is that true?
Yeah, honestly, just get in the swing of things, and it's a pretty seamless transition.
Okay. Now, what do you feel you need to work on this offseason with your football technique?
I feel like I could work on my run a little better. There are times where I made the wrong reads, even though I did say I got a lot better at reading just from the experience. But I think it just comes with experience, and with all the off-season work I'm getting, and all the spring work and summer work with my high school team, I think I'll be up to speed with that.
How are your grades?
They're doing really well right now. I'm at about a 4.3 GPA right now. Mostly all A's, A pluses, maybe a B here and there.
Do you have an idea what you want to major in?
I was interested in psychology for the longest time, but I've been thinking about it recently, and I don't think I want to pursue a career in psychology. But I've been thinking about business recently. I haven't done much research about it because it's been a pretty recent decision, but somewhere within business. Yeah.
Cool. How does this Niles Notre Dame the team look for the upcoming season?
It looks fantastic, if I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of we're a pretty young team. We didn't lose too many guys last season. And last season, we just struggled to find our way, honestly. Like, our team wasn't really, the chemistry just wasn't there between our younger guys and our older guys. But this year we got a new weightlifting program. Everyone's pitching in, everyone's doing their work, everyone's working hard, and it's a really great atmosphere. I've only been back for a week.
Who on this team is ready to explode onto the recruiting scene this fall? Who do you feel?
I think I'm gonna have to say Randy Russ, our linebacker.
Okay.
Last season, I honestly think he got robbed of all conference. He made about 90 tackles. He's lightning fast. He's got amazing change of direction. He's a great kid. He's just a hell of an athlete.
Awesome. Now I got to ask, for any incoming freshman that comes into this Niles Notre Dame football program, what do they need to know about this football program?
Participation counts and inclusion counts. If you show up to the lifts, it's not so much about talent and skill. If you prove that you want to be a part of the team and you show up to the lifts and you prove that you want to get better, that'll earn you your starting spot. So just because this 6'5", 210 receiver can run a 4.5 40 and has like a 48-inch vertical, if he doesn't show up to any of the lifts, he's not going to start. So it's kind of a loyalty thing. You know what I mean?
Awesome. What do you feel? And actually, no, I'm gonna ask a funny question. Who's the funniest guy in the locker room? Niles Notre Dame locker room.
Oh man, this is really hard. We got a lot of funny guys over there, but I'm gonna have to say Jerry Spanos is a defensive lineman.
Okay. What game? Why is he funny? What would make him funny?
He's a big guy. All big guys.
Yeah.
Really tough race. It's hard to choose.
Yeah. What game are you looking most forward to this upcoming season?
That is a really tough one. We haven't played. Actually, it isn't really a tough one. We haven't played our rivals, St. Pat's, in about 2 seasons, and I'm really looking forward to playing them this year, week 2, St. Pat's.
Who is a player that you have gone up against that a lot of people should know about? It can be any rival that you've gone in the past 2 seasons that's on your year that a lot of people should pay attention to.
I'm sorry, I'm not too good with names, if I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No, you're good. No problem. No, you're good. Trust me, there's a lot of players. Literally, they don't trust me. You're not the only one. And this will be the last question. Last question for you. What goals do you have for yourself this season?
I need to really work hard in the weight room is one struggle that I've been having. I didn't really have a lot of time in the off seasons because wrestling and football was just like all smushed together with all those COVID seasons. And I never really got a true off season to really get better in the weight room. So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to improving this year.
And when the hell is your quarterback going to get a Twitter handle?
You talking about Enzo?
Honestly, yeah. Still, I told his brother, come on.